You're listening to special coverage on News Talk 710 KURV, and we're putting all these videos and conversations also on 710 KURV, our X page, our Twitter page, Facebook, 710 KURV, also our YouTube page. You can do a rewind and go check some of these conversations. And I invite you, all these folks in South Texas industry leadership and government leadership, Northern Mexico as well, just an impressive collection. Some of the top leaders in our region, the region that we refer to through this effort as RGV RioPlex. And we want to thank Joaquin Spammer for herding all the cats and bringing everybody together so we have a unified attack, a unified effort to try to land us some more industry, more jobs for South Texas. As you can see on our video, we got a judge from Cameron County, our Judge Eddie Trevino, and he's fresh off from talking to the group. As I've been describing, I've been told we have like 14 different countries that are represented that have been expressing interest in setting up shop in the U.S., and we'd like to catch some of that because all of a sudden there's a lot of interest to manufacture in the U.S. because of policy. So what did you share with the audience there at RioPlex?
Well, you just finished speaking to Mayor Villalobos from McAllen, and you just used the same words that I use, herding cats. I use the example of back when I was mayor of Brownsville over 20 years ago, and Mayor Cortez was mayor of McAllen. He and I began the talks from a regional aspect. We wanted to develop a regionalization of the valley. We knew that by working together, we were going to be able to have more success as opposed to this continual fighting. And it arose, you'll remember the Boeing issue. Boeing was looking to develop a plant, and I believe the three communities, Brownsville, Harlingen, McAllen, Hidalgo, all put together different packages. Well, of course, we didn't end up with it. Had we maybe perhaps put together one package, maybe that would have been a different result. But the talks began to show how important working together and regionalism was going to be. When I took office 8 years ago and the judge took office 6 years ago, the governor had tasked us, me and him, with the idea of merging the MPO. And he said, by doing that, it'll make it a lot easier for the state to support you and give you more funding.
Okay, and for working people, I know you guys listen faithfully. The KURV audience is smarter than the average radio listening there. But yeah, Metropolitan Planning Organization, the transportation dollars.
Exactly.
We don't need separate.
Right.
We did one entity representing the valley, and that helped us because we became number 5 most populous MPO, and we surpassed El Paso. What is the percentage?
We went from $500 million that the valley was receiving in state transportation funding to over $3.6 billion 4 short years later.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Because we became top 5.
Absolutely. And by working together, that's really the most critical aspect of it. We've a year ago, we had one of the projects that was a priority for us and for the governor was getting the second causeway approved. A year ago in November of 23, TxDOT made it a non-system project. All of a sudden, by it becoming part of the TxDOT system, it made its reality much more likely because now funding was going to be there. Obviously, Cameron County and the CCRMA and South Padre did not have the funding to support the construction of the second causeway. But now with that, and along with the highway from the causeway all the way to Edinburgh, the new highway, which I think is just as important, if not more so, because it's going to develop, it's going to open up northern Cameron County and eastern Hidalgo, give us another east-west corridor. And to me, all of these things coming together are as a result of the political leadership, setting aside any potential differences, which of course they're there and they may pop up. But at the end of the day, if we're working together, we're going to keep making that pie bigger. We're going to keep making that loaf bigger. Instead of fighting over that slice, we want to make that loaf bigger and bigger. And that's exactly what the MPO shows. And all of this economic development, valley-wide, at the RioPlex, on both sides of the border, we know that we've been found out, and we need to take advantage and push the narrative in a very positive nature so that the rest of the state, the rest of the country, the rest of the world knows how important and how beneficial it would be to invest in the RioPlex.
And as I've been noting, this private sector initiative that brings in our public sector efforts for EDC and leadership, combining it, it's going to need to be consistent because we're outgunned Ain't no way we can get the reputation of Houston anytime soon, or Dallas, or some of the big markets. They know who they are.
But we have to start.
Yeah. So it has to be consistent. What
Yep.
we're doing now, just keep going, keep pounding, more meetings, more invitations, more summits, all those things, and just bring them here. You want to do business? Here's who we are.
Yep.
And I think the smart money will discover who we are. My guest right now is Eddie Trevino, our Cameron County judge. And you, like, as you mentioned, Judge Richard Cortez in Hidalgo County, former mayor. You guys were mayors around the same time. You and him are perfect to answer this question. Do you think that despite the fact that we don't have a unified metropolitan statistical area, MSA, we're not unified in statistics, they don't see us that way, we're not ranked that way, okay, fine. But because of the medical school that has campuses across the valley, because of the university that is a unified university, and you could look at MPO, all those different things that are taking place. Do you get the sense that we are now beyond, we are moving or have moved beyond the pettiness, the Friday night football mentality, the parochialism that we had before? Because McAllen and Weslaco, we are as proud as Brownsville and Cameron County when those rockets go into space.
Absolutely.
And we're so proud to talk about our port and LNG and thousands of jobs. Just amazing news that's taking place. You think we're beyond that emotionally, at least in our spirit?
I really do. And sometimes it takes some bad experiences or a couple of bumps and bruises along the way to realize you got to fall, but you got to get back up. And I think, thankfully, the political leadership over the last several years, over the last 10, 20 years, has been building up to this point. And that realization that by working together, instead of the Friday Night Lights mentality, we're going to get more done. The proof is in the pudding. We've been discovered. We need to take advantage of this opportunity in our history. And we need to do this for our kids and for our grandkids, because the rest of the world is finding out. Many of them do know about us, but many of them are still finding out about us. We need to take control of the narrative in a very positive, proactive, progressive manner so that they know that doing business, being successful in business, obviously making money from their perspective, it's going to happen here in the Rio Grande Valley, in the RioPlex. As
you help manage all the unincorporated areas, all the county land, Cameron County, do you see any unique challenges in trying to keep up with the growth? Because, man, I don't want to say we're getting our butts kicked, but I think we're getting our butts kicked because we have thousands of jobs at the port. Everybody, hammers flying, LNG. Here comes another LNG. It's like, well, hey, hang on a second, boys. We need more apartments. We need more road. SpaceX needs a fatter road from the city all the way to the beach because they're just got a 3,000 person plus campus. It's probably going to have, and you've told me maybe they'll have up to 10,000. So there's a lot going on. And yes, the challenges are in unincorporated and with a city land. We need pipe, we need parking, we need land, we need utilities, all that stuff. It's a good problem to have, but
you hit the nail on the head. Okay. We do lack some infrastructure, but we've been working at it. I'd rather have and be dealing with these problems than trying to figure out how we're going to find the jobs or the industries that are going to be able to employ our workforce. We talk, the skilled workforce. We've had a very young community, but now as a result of the investment that we've had in our educational system, in our universities, in our technical schools, in our community colleges, they're doing an unbelievable job in getting those kids ready. And they're teaching those curriculums. They're providing those programs and certifications for the jobs that are available here. Often in the past, we were producing these jobs or skilled labor, but the jobs weren't present here in the valley. Well, now we're doing that, and we're also making sure that we have the labor with the skilled that they need in order to build. I mentioned the fact that one of the sales pitch we had with Elon when he was considering where to put the Tesla Gigafactory was, I told him, we're already building your rockets. We can sure as heck build your cars. And unfortunately, we lost out to Austin. But the sales pitch at that point was a valley-wide one. I had talked to all the mayors and County Judge Cortez and everybody. I said, let's give it a shot this way because I think we'll stand a better chance because of the amount of money that was going to be required. And obviously, Austin, came through with a much bigger package. Those are kind of the things that we're probably still going to be behind the eight ball for a while. But that doesn't mean that we can't catch up or at least manage that difference and make it a little bit more manageable.
No. And it's good to hear that mindset exists where, okay, let's see what more can we do. Okay, Elon, love him or hate him, whatever he's saying, I love him. He's got the Boring Company. He's got Neuralink.
Yep.
I mean, you name it. He's got all these different. There's like more opportunities for us to do more at this time when, hey, look at that. It's real popular to manufacture now in the U.S. again. Yeah. So that's an opportunity. And I hope that this effort with RioPlex can help sell to some of these international investors.
We hope so.
The idea to come here. Eddie Trevino is our judge in Cameron County. And just a final thought, because as we're pushing and growing left and right, and of course, all the stress of infrastructure that you have to deal with, quality of life, like what do we do on Friday night? What do we do on Saturday, right? I know that and I touched on this with John Cowan, our mayor in Brownsville. The special events center that will be on the ballot May 3rd. I think it's important to remind folks how all this is structured. Again, we're trying to create a special event center for Cameron County, for Brownsville, because at the moment, and I'll start with the university and the TSE and the TSTC and the local high school systems, graduations that could be held at a big, nice Bert Ogden Arena style center in Cameron County. No, everybody has to drive. Let's drive over to Edinburgh. Ain't nothing wrong. We love hosting our family in Brownsville, San Benito, and Harlingen. You come on over, people. Come on over. Come to our restaurants and help with the economic development effort over here in the Chamber of Commerce. No, but we need one. Cameron County and Brownsville, you guys are leading the growth of the Valley economy. This is my opinion. There's really no reason why we shouldn't have a special event center. Well, Sarge, they're going to be charging us new taxes. No, they're not. Nope. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys in Cameron County, you guys approved a long time ago taxing rental cars and taxing hotel, and that tax is still coming in. So correct me if I'm wrong. What you're taking that, you just need to ask permission to this event center. Let's use some of that to kickstart. Let's get this thing done.
In November of 2016, the Cameron County voters approved the imposition of the visitor or venue tax. Visitor tax is probably a little bit easier for people to understand, and that's basically a short-term rental tax on hotel stays and on rental cars. So in November of 2016, when that visitor venue tax was approved, two projects were approved at the same time: the Isla Blanca Amphitheater at the Isla Blanca Park in South Padre and the South Texas Ecotourism Center. This was right before I took office, because if I had been there, I would have tried to include the multi-use or venue arena at that point. But Cameron County has shown that it's a good steward of those dollars by making both of those projects a reality. So as we sit here today, some people have said, well, we've already voted on it. Well, it barely didn't pass by a few votes, 67 and then 212 on the two elections. So we took a step back, but this money is being collected. It'll continue to be collected after May the 3rd. The law says we have to get voter approval in order to use it on an approved project. Some people say, well, yeah, we need it for streets. We need it for water. We need it for drainage. The problem is that the statute does not allow.
You can't allocate for that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like you can't allocate for a convention center or a special event center. You can't do it.
It's got to exactly.
It's got
to be economic development, tourism related. That's why this is so critical. So it's not that we don't realize that there's a need, but there are only specific uses that we can do, and an arena fits the goal of the legislation and also the need of Cameron County at this particular time in our history. The location is basically mid Cameron County, close to middle between Brownsville and Harlingen, and 20 minutes from southern Hidalgo and 30 minutes from northern Hidalgo. So we think it's the best location. It's being planned as part of a master development, and we think that it'll be a heck of a thing to do. And the longer we delay, the more expensive. We know it's going to happen. Let's get it done now, just like the RioPlex.
In between Brownsville and Harlingen, and all that land is getting filled up really fast. Amazing, all the growth that's taking place. Continued success, Judge. thanks for joining us today on the program.
Thanks for having me.
And I hope you do get a phone call from somebody. And I do hope you encounter somebody at the elevator where you can say, hey, you come to the Valley because X, Y, Z.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In that minute speech, you just tell them, hey, come on down here because we got it.
We got
Ready
it.
to go. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, sir.
Eddie Trevino, our Cameron County Judge. And thank you for joining us on News Talk 710 KURV and all our online platforms as we continue these broadcasts. On behalf of RGV RioPlex, this direct foreign investment effort, a united effort between government and industry to try to land us some more industry and jobs for South Texas. I'm Sergio Sanchez. Thank you for joining us on News Talk 710 KURV.